Hi there and welcome to Entertainment Stop. It's James and Ben with a new video, and in this video we're going to give you our thoughts on the pilot episode of Hot in Cleveland. That's what it's called. Yeah, just wanted to make sure, 100%. Hot in Cleveland. I've only just heard about the show and only just watched the pilot. Ben was the one that introduced me to it and asked me to take a watch. So, brief synopsis of the show in itself. We've just got it up here. Three 40-something best friends from Los Angeles are flying to Paris when their plane makes an emergency landing in Cleveland. Realizing that all the norms from Los Angeles don't apply anymore, they decide to celebrate a city that values real women and stay where they're still considered hot. Starring Valerie, Bertinelli, Jane Leeves, Wendie Malick, and also Betty White from Golden Girls fame. So move that over there. Okay, so I've never heard of this before in my life, Ben. Or if I have, I've forgotten about it. You might have told me about it years ago.
I only heard about it because it came up on Amazon Prime last week.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot. Jane Leeves, isn't it?
So it's a Jane Leeves vehicle, and essentially what you have is the starting is where Jane Leeves and the two other girls that the show revolves around are on a plane heading, as I said, heading to Paris. They experience horrendous turbulence. It lands in Cleveland. They're stuck in Cleveland for a while. They go to a bar and they realize that all the men are looking at them.
Yeah.
Well, these are all 40-something women, and they're used to LA where all the men are basically moving, don't stay with these women that are 40-something and go out with women half their age. And now they've found out that they're actually attractive in Cleveland to the Cleveland men.
I think that was what I took from that opening scene in the bar. Really was the fact they were shocked.
Yeah.
They were treated.
And so you kind of they try and hammer home the different characters and their different way they are. You've got the one, and they're all really self-involved, aren't they?
Yeah, totally self-involved, you know.
I was thinking as it started, I was like, am I going to like this?
Well, you basically meet them on the plane, don't you? You meet them on the plane, and they're just talking about going on holiday, and one of them's an actress.
Yeah.
Who's just had a show cancelled.
You get that nice. You get a nice. You only find out about that when there's the air hostesses coming to basically offer them something, and she takes whatever the air hostess is for her recognizing her. She starts going on about how yes, I am an actress. It's nice to meet you. I always love meeting my fans. And the girl was like, "No, I was just going to ask if you wanted a drink or something."
So you immediately know that she is so self-obsessed.
Yeah.
Oh, not that she's self-obsessed, but she's obsessed with what she used to be.
Yes, so she's stuck in the past.
Yeah, she can only see that one that she used to be.
She used to be the queen of daytime soap TV. And now her career is on the skits because of basically age discrimination is how, if you want to look at it like that, and that is an actual problem in a lot of TV. We've had that. It's been quite prominent in UK TV in the last couple of years when you look at the newsreaders and things like that. There's been a lot of age discrimination against newsreaders. How if you reach a certain age, then you're kind of got rid of, and that's been a big thing over here. So it did remind me a bit of that, and it probably still happens.
And then you move on to the Jane Leeves character, who is like a makeup artist that stars.
Yeah, she does Oprah Winfrey's eyebrows.
she's
And her character's thing is that she's a complainer.
Yeah, she complains about everything.
Yeah, she complains about a lot. And then the main, was she the main character? I don't know. She seemed to be the main. This other woman seemed to be the main character for this episode.
Yeah.
Whose husband's just left her.
Yeah, and would you have them they're on the same plane? So we get that backstory of the husband leaving her, but then she bumps into him on the same plane on the way to Paris.
Yeah, and she thinks she's going to get back with him, but he's actually going to Paris to propose to take his new fiancée, who's again half his age, and that hammers home that point that they're making in the show about LA people being very superficial, and he's taking her to Paris.
So then the plane starts to violently shake, and this is quite convincing for a full camera comedy. The plane starts to shake.
I mean, yeah, there was some ropey acting though.
Yeah, I won't deny that, but
Jane Leeves, who, don't get me wrong, I love her from being Daphne and Frasier. One of my all-time, very hard to see her as anything but Daphne,
yes,
if I'm being honest. But after a while, I got used to it. And yeah, her character, the way she did her facial expressions while it was shaking, she was.
yes,
I was like, oh. And again, that was my point of, am I going to enjoy this or is this just terrible? It's not a terrible show, actually. It turns out.
no.
Um, and so they
So then,
land and they go to Cleveland. They go to a bar and they realize that they're the skinniest people there.
yeah,
All the men are looking at them. They're the most attractive people there, and they order chili fries.
yeah,
And
I think that's my favourite line. And she goes, "We can have chili fries. We can, we can eat them."
they can eat them. So again, it's a it's a joke about how superficial LA is, and how
Yes,
nobody in LA would even dream of
no,
eating chili fries for the fat that they might put on any sort of fat at all, because everyone's got to look perfect there. And they have a beer, and she's like, "And we're not going to have a light beer. We're going to have a full fat beer." And they're all like, "Ooh," and they feel like they're doing something naughty.
it's just a total excitement that again.
And they get invited over to these guys' table, and then their chili fries come, and all the guys are like, "Oh wow, you're not hungry or something," because of the small amount of food that they've ordered, even though they're huge baskets of chili fries.
Again, what I love is the way that they managed to get the whole character, the idea of the characters out, just by telling these people the life stories in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, so they give the guys pretty much a rundown of them,
Yes.
and it's a rundown to the guys, and it's also a rundown to the audience as well to
Yeah.
get the backstory of their characters over. I.e., Jane Leeves being this um, beautician to the stars, and this other woman being an actress. And I still can't remember what the third woman does.
Halfway through the scene, I suddenly realised that I'd seen Malick from it, and she plays Martin Crane's love interest in Frasier.
Yes, that's where I've seen it before. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. I was like, who is this woman?
Halfway through the scene,
Yeah, I was like, who's this actress? I can't put my finger on it, and now I remember.
so she plays that from Frasier, and so we got two Frasier cast members in here.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one, but they're both very good.
They are, yeah. So they basically get all the exposition out in this one scene.
Mm. And they have a night there, and then the next time you see them is in the morning.
All
Jane
the
Leaves is licking herself because of all the grease that's coming out. She's enjoying the taste of the grease from the food that she ate the night before is coming out of her pores. She's licking herself, and it turns out one of the girls has is gonna decides to stay in Cleveland because everything's so perfect there. The men are real men. They find them attractive. The housing situation is
yeah.
about 1 billion times cheaper than it is in LA, and for what you can get,
But
everything's just better.
there is one scene I love, one bit of the scene that I love in here was when you can tell the one that wants to stay in Cleveland, she's impulsive.
Yeah.
When she makes a mind, she goes for it, and she comes back into the room with us, the hotel, and she's already got a Cleveland Indian shirt on.
She's basically moved into the town, and she's already supporting the local team.
she, that tells me that she's quite impulsive,
Yeah.
and when she makes a decision, she can't be swayed by it.
Well, she is impulsive because they go and visit this house, which is amazing looking, and she basically signs the lease, a 1 month rolling lease, there and then. And the guy's like getting the check. She's already signed it. And he's like, "Oh, by the way, it comes with the local caretaker of the house,
Yeah,
who's is it Betty White? I think I said. Is that right?
right. She's absolutely brilliant.
From Golden Girls.
Whenever she's on screen, she just steals the scene.
She does. I wasn't sure whether again another. I don't know whether I'm looking the show and I'm like, am I going to like? And I feel like this about every sitcom. I'm
Yeah.
like, am I going to like this? Or will I find this fun? It's a fine line for a sitcom for me with
Yeah,
characters, whether they're funny or annoying, and they're either hilarious or they're not for me.
yeah.
And there's like very few shades of grey. Well, this woman is hilarious.
She steals everything that she's in. She wanders in with this, like, tracksuit on.
Which they make, which they pay. They don't pay lip service to it. They actually address it later on in the episode.
But anyway, she basically comes to the house.
Yeah, she's the caretaker of the house. She's been doing it for 50 odd years or whatever it is.
So the girls have, or one of the girls have signed this lease. Then she gets a phone call from one of the men in the bar.
Yeah.
And then they have this whole scene on should I go, should I not? And when Betty White comes in, she goes, "Why did you bring home prostitutes?"
So she thinks, so she's from a completely different generation. They talk about maybe getting rid of her, and then she mentions the fact that she survived the Nazis and things,
Yeah.
and she basically lays it on really thick. And they can't get rid of her at all because she's a war, she's survived wars and all sorts, and she's been there longer than them, and she thinks of them as hussies, and I think she calls them whores at some point, which is awful. But yeah, some of her language is just awful, but she can get away with it because she's 80 odd, and she can say what she wants basically. And yeah, so we meet her character, who's a pot smoking grandma, and
She's worried to the police. Are you the police?
yeah, so they go, "Oh, does anyone smell pot?" And she's like, "What are you, the police?" And they're like, "No," and she goes, "Well, it's none of your business then," or something like that. So yeah, and the whole story rolls around this one woman falling in love with Cleveland, and the other guy's getting kind of dragged along, and she goes out with this guy that phones her, and it turns out he's married, and the other two figure out she's married because they Google him.
Yeah, and they show the age of it because it's like one of these Blackberries that the screen flips over.
Yeah, so it's 2010. Like you're talking about the peak of the BlackBerry sort of phone, or that type of phone that would have these sort of weird, like very rectangular, but the screen would push up when it was on it in a sort of portrait mode, or landscape mode. Sorry.
And I couldn't help but think about, I didn't know if phones had like really good internet back in the, I mean, it's only
Well, it's
2010, but
3G back then, wasn't it?
I thought they found this Google page pretty fast.
Well, that's the beauty of television, Ben. You can have creative license.
But no, so anyway, they're Googling him and they find out he's married, so they run down to this I don't know how they figured out what boat he was on, but
Yeah, found his boat somehow, even though his address probably didn't say the boat. But they found him on a boat, and he's whining and dining this woman, and he's just about to tell her that he's married when they burst in and basically spoil the. They tell him, and they kick him out, and they're like, "Why don't you just get out?" And he's like, "It's my boat." But they kick him out anyway, and eventually it all settles down, and he smooth talks the actress by saying she's fantastic, and he calls them like beautiful women, and they're easily sweet talked.
the best bit about this, there has quite some funny moments in this pilot. It's when she's she's telling the guy that it's not about me. She's delighted that he's been nice to her, and she starts chatting him up. And then she says, "It's not about me. I'm here for my friends." But then she gets a phone call from an agent.
Yeah, and she just tells everyone to shut up while she's there. And it turns out they want her to play a grandma in the newest Transformers movie.
Yeah.
Oh, she's not keen on.
It's just the way that she tells them all to shut up.
Yeah. So eventually he doesn't. There's nothing that fizzles out, and we find out towards the end when they're all sitting out on the porch on a swing.
I haven't seen any more episodes of this show apart from this one, so I'm assuming this thing will be like the end scene.
I guess so, because I mean they're just kind of discussing that they're going to stay in Cleveland. They're not going to go to Paris. They're going to spend the 2 weeks in Cleveland instead,
Yeah.
or the month or whatever it is that they've got. Well, them two are going to spend the 2 weeks. She's going to spend the rest of her life recording
Yeah.
stories in Cleveland, and they're kind of stuck with this old woman that's with them.
And this is the bit where they ask her, what is the idea of old people in trousers?
Yeah, so she says, 20 years old, you're dressing to impress.
Yes.
At 40 years old, you're power dressing
Yeah.
smart for business. And at 80 years old, you're dressing for the toilet,
Yeah.
dressing for the bathroom.
That was her
That was her brief description of it. She said it a lot better because she's hilarious, but that is basically what she said. And that's kind of where it leaves it, with all them four sitting on this sort of swing chatting about staying in Cleveland. And yet she still comes out with some more horrendous stuff.
It
Even then,
reminded me of an end scene from like the Waltons, where all the characters were sitting on a swing, and you know.
yeah, I think it was a very much of its time sort of 2010 sitcom.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, sitcoms nowadays try to be more nuanced,
Yeah,
but Netflix are bringing back the old type of sitcoms, like One Day at a Time. You know,
yeah.
they're trying to bring back like the traditional sitcom, but this was, you're right, this was a 2010 traditional four camera sitcom type thing.
And I think it was good. I enjoyed it. I liked it, and I probably will watch more of this.
This was a revelation to me because it's just we never come across it before.
Well, you've only got 5 years of it. It only ran from 2010 to 2015. I checked before we started talking, so it probably doesn't go on for too long, or it doesn't go on for too long. So it's probably got 4 or 5 seasons, and that's
And
it.
I also did, and Betty White is 95 years old now. That's quite a fair age.
That's crazy, isn't it? So so she was quite old when this began. She was actually in her 80s.
But the fact that somebody that age can be that good, obviously she's great because she's been around forever, but the fact that every scene she was in, she managed to somehow steal it.
She did, and I thought you can kind of see that she's going to be the quirky character, a la Kramer from Seinfeld. You know, that one that just pops in every now and then. The whole show's will revolve around these three, or it looks like it. And then she looks like the character that'll just pop in every now and then with the killer lines.
Which, by the way, if you want to hear our review of the Seinfeld first episode, we did that last week, so
We did.
I think that'll be up soon.
That will be up soon. So it's either up soon or it's already up by the time you watch it. So
But
check that out.
I thought the bit that I liked about this show was they're not going to spend 5, 6 episodes trying to accept this old woman. She's already accepted as part of the gang.
Jane Leeves keeps shooting her some dirty looks, but she's already a member of the group.
She's already there. They're not going to spend 5, 6 episodes going, I don't know if I like her, or she's not having to win them over. She's just already there.
Yeah, she's not out to win them over. She's already she's running for her own path, which is great. So I'd give this show a thumbs up. What's one that I never thought I'd actually like and I've not seen before. So a lot of the stuff that we review I've already seen in the past. It's just been a long time. I knew I'd like it. This one I didn't know whether I'd like it. I was up in an eye throughout the first couple of minutes, and then I was into it.
I think we'll find this because we've done quite a few of the ones that we already know, but we'll come across things that we haven't even seen before. Now and again we'll hate some of them, but we'll also find ones that we want to see more of. So,
And this is definitely one of them for me.
definitely for me too.
Any other points, Ben?
No, as I say, I liked how it flowed.
Yeah.
It was a simple premise. Although I don't know how the other two are going to stay in Cleveland for the whole time.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
But no, overall, I thought it was very good.
Yeah, I'd agree. They didn't overthink it, and they kind of just stuck to this one route throughout the whole episode, which worked. Yeah. So, thanks very much for discussing this and suggesting this one for me, Ben. If you like this video and think about giving us a like on hitting the like button. If you want to see more videos on different discussions and us talking about different shows, then let us know in the comments section. And think about subscribing to the channel as well. And where can people find you on Twitter, Ben?
At Ironside 1982.
At Ironside 1982, and they can find me at James Allen Yo. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.